Hi everybody, Dan Illman here, taking a look at the Coast to Coast Pick 5 wager on Saturday, January the 6th. It is a $1 base bet with a 15% takeout, and the Coast to Coast Pick 5 will be run each Saturday and Sunday through April the 7th. I put up a preliminary ticket before scratches and changes, highlighting some price horses that you might want to throw into your individual Pick 5 tickets. Let's start things off with leg A. Gulfstream Park race number 9, the $125,000 Ginger Brew Stakes for 3-year-old fillies going a mile on the turf. I recognize that the 12 Life's Inaudible is the horse to beat, dropping in class for Todd Pletcher and Arad Ortiz, and this horse might get the right pace setter from the back of the pack in a field filled with speed. But I am concerned about post position 12, so I'm going to take a little bit of a swing with 3 other better priced options. And I want to start with the number 10 Yata, who returns from Southern California for trainer Graham Motion. I thought this filly was completely pace compromised last time out in the grade 3 Jimmy Durante Stakes. She's a one-run closer that needs pace. There was none. It was won in gate-to-wire fashion after a half mile in 48 and change. Yata still ran very well to be third, finishing ahead of a horse that came back to place in a stake in Southern California with a 75 Beyer speed figure. Considering all the other speeds in this race, I think Yata gets the right setup and should be charging hard in the stretch. The 6 and the 7 are horses that must prove themselves at this level. Wasquesiu, San Pataleo, they're both trained by Bill Mott. They both should show a little bit of speed, but I doubt they're going to really cancel each other out up front. Wasquesiu probably seems more likely. This horse won her route and turf debut last time out. It was a maiden special weight. She got right up close to the pace that day, dominated them in the stretch, and she's really bred to appreciate turf and distance, being by American Pharoah and a half to Collective Force, who was classic placed in Canada, placing in the Breeders' Stakes, going a mile and a half on the turf. I think Wasquesiu is a horse with just a ton of upside potential. San Pantaleo might be the speed of the speed, the number 7. This one is stretching out in distance for Mott. Gate-to-wire winner, second lifetime start. That was back on November the 5th. They're going to try to stretch her out. I'm a little bit worried about the pace, but this horse looked promising enough in that maiden victory that I might want to use her at a price under John Velasquez. So I'm looking at the 6, 7, and 10 as price alternatives to the logical horses. The 4 Ozara, the 12 Life's Inaudible, horses that are already proven in stakes competition. The second leg of the Coast to Coast Pick 5 is race number 10 at Gulfstream Park. That's the $100,000 Limehouse Stakes for newly turned 3-year-olds, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. The 2 Valiant Force is 7-5 on the morning line, and I'm kind of against Valiant Force. This horse is trying dirt for the first time against a pretty solid field and doesn't seem to have a lot of speed, and that sort of style doesn't really play well on the main track at Gulfstream Park. Valiant Force is a proven commodity on turf, a group stakes winner in England, second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. This is a different ball game, however, on dirt. I'm going to focus on 2 other horses. The number 1 Sir Flash was a gate-to-wire winner at Gulfstream 2 starts back. Couldn't make the lead in the first start against Winners, that being the inaugural stakes at Tampa Bay Downs, but was really in with a chance turning for home and then understandably tired late, finishing ahead of a horse that came back to win a $75,000 optional claimer with a 70 Beyer speed figure. Sir Flash picks up Louis Saez, a very aggressive rider, and I think Sir Flash is going to be ridden aggressively from the start to try to make the lead. Cuban Thunder is like Valiant Force in a way. This horse has done most of his damage racing on turf overseas. Prior connections thought enough of him to run him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile for his dirt debut, and it's safe to say that that didn't work out. They ran him on synthetic last time out. It was a fine second. I think cutting back in distance, though, is going to be key for Cuban Thunder. Maybe 2 turns at this point in his career is just a bridge too far, and Cuban Thunder, I think, might be the one to consider rallying from off the pace instead of Valiant Force, who's going to be a much shorter price. The third leg is at Santa Anita. It's race number 5. It's a maiden special weight going 6 furlongs on the turf. The 3 and the 4 are the horses I'm going to key in on. El Rey just missed last time out, going a mile at Del Mar. Now gets Lasix for trainer Jeff Mullins. Has to prove himself cutting back to 6 furlongs, especially because he doesn't have the strongest running style maybe for the course profile. He likes to come from out of it, but I like his 2 races thus far, and I think he's going to kick in the stretch. De Medici, the number 4, is a little bit of an X factor in this race. He started twice on dirt, hasn't run well either time, now switches to turf. New gelding, new Lasix, new blinkers, and has been working in company for trainer Michael McCarthy with Formidable Man, who's already won a race on the turf and has entered in the San Vicente on dirt. Later on the Saturday card at Santa Anita, Frankie Dettori picks up the mount on De Medici, who I think is going to improve switching to turf. This horse is a 1/2 to 2 turf winners. A horse you might want to throw into your coast-to-coast pick 5 tickets for a little bit of a deeper spread is the 2 Money Makes Money, who had a little bit of trouble in the career debut, now draws inside, gets another furlong to work with, and gets Lasix. He's a horse that I had on the fringes, and I might add, if I decide to go a little bit deeper in this wager, EJ Won the Cup is the 11. This horse has speed, gets Lasix, but this horse has already been beaten as the favorite a couple of times and might have to work really hard to get to the top from that far outside post. Leg D of the coast-to-coast pick 5 is the Dania Beach. It's race number 11 at Gulfstream Park, and in this race, I think the proven commodities on turf look very, very strong. Mostly the horse on the outside, that being for trainer Todd Pletcher's Agate Road. This horse kicks like a mule in the stretch and should get a very fast pace to run into. Took the grade 2 Pilgrim 2 starts back, and then last time out in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf was actually running on in the stretch. Outside post here for Agate Road, but I just think from a class standpoint and the way this race should be won, he is the horse to beat. If you're playing a ticket maker ticket, he's probably my sole A. My backups would be the 6 Air Recruit, who enjoyed a perfect trip to win the Laurel Futurity, then got cooked on the lead in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf last time out. I think they'll revert to the stalking tactics that work well for him 2 starts back, and at a price, the 5 Reminder is the kind of horse that can kick late if this pace is fast, and he might get the right trip. He was second in his turf debut, the Pulpit, last time out at Gulfstream Park, and I just think he's a better horse on the turf. The final leg is race number 7 at Santa Anita. We're going down the hill at about 6.5 furlongs on the turf. This is an allowance race. I'm keying on the 1 and the 4. Lunar Impact hasn't been out in a couple of months, but I liked what I saw from this horse coming down the hill last time out for trainer Dan Blacker, finishing directly behind a horse that came right back to win a first-level allowance with a 92 Beyer speed figure. The 4 Miss Lizzie looked strong at this level, at a $50,000 starter level last time out, going a mile. I generally like horses cutting back to 6.5 furlongs. Miss Lizzie was really the only closer in that race. There doesn't seem to be a lot of pace in this race. I just think she's sharp enough that she could run these down for trainer Doug O'Neill, so I'll go with the 1 and the 4 in the final leg of the Coast to Coast Pick 5 for Saturday, January the 6th. Best of luck.